Oh. Okay, okay, ready? Reel it, reel it, reel it. There you go, reel it, reel it. Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. You got him, you got him, you got the fishy. Hello, DOUBLEO crew. Jeez, this wind is terrible. This is gonna be a quick video. I'm just gonna do a quick overview of setups. I've had a good number of people request this. Not really so much lures, so I'll just give you a quick glance into my lure box here. These are like pretty much my bass and snakehead lures, or anything that wants to eat a lures. As you can see, most of it is pretty natural in coloration. I do have like a few exceptions, the bright outstanding colors for either like early spring or muddy conditions. Other than that, that's pretty much that as far as lures go. But the main part of this video, what people have really been requesting, is my live bait setups. So as far as jigs and stuff goes, again, like with everything else, I like to keep it as natural as possible. These are the ones I was using in the last video. Green, for whatever reason, it's not real natural, but it works. Chartreuse. Mainly though, I like sticking to the natural colors. So I use the same application as I would with live bait with those. These, on the other hand, as you can see, like the little natural looking minnow paddle tail with the natural head, stuff like that, I cast out and just reel it in slowly. Or even so, you could put that under a bobber like I do with the normal setup. But yeah, generally I'm using what I just showed you guys, a size 8 octopus hook right there. Thin wire, no extra little barb on there, just a small, thin, very finesse hook. I got other sizes in here and everything too, but generally that's what I use. And then I try to get away with the smallest split shot I can, or no split shot at all. I rarely ever use like snap swivels or anything extra like that. I try to keep the presentation 100% natural with light line. And if you notice on my bobbers, I don't have any of the big round bobbers. They're all the tall and skinny, because that, especially with species like crappie that finesse bite, when they go to pull it under, they feel way less tension when they're pulling this little thin bobber than if they're pulling a big round one. So a lot of those bigger, smarter crappie, or any fish, they tend to let go if you don't detect the bite right away. They'll feel the resistance of that bobber if you don't have the right kind of bobber. You could still go out and catch fish doing the exact opposite of any of this, but I can 1000% guarantee that if you apply all this, you're going to catch more fish and bigger fish. Like little rigs like this, when I have the line tied on, see that tag end there? I clip that off. That makes it look a little more standoutish and unnatural in the water. This camera is so blurry, but that tag end, if I was to use this, that would get clipped off. Just all those tiny little fine details, it makes it look that much more natural in the water. If you can completely cover your hook with the worm, even up onto the line, so no hook is showing at all, that works best. When I hook my minnows, I hook my minnow in the bottom lip, through the bottom, and out of the mouth through the same bottom lip. That way the fish can still move about freely and breathe. If you hook both through both lips, you're pinning the mouth shut for the most part, and they can't get full breath, and then they die really fast and don't swim around as erratically and attract the bite. So that's another key. But again, the main key here is the line size. If you think about it, even when you bass fish, how often are you catching 4-pound bass or bigger? 4-pound test is perfectly fine. 2-pound test is my preference for most fishing that I do, unless it's like heavy cover, or if I have to really horse a bass out of grass or something, you know, then I'll go up. But pan fishing, trout fishing, even the majority of my bass fishing, I'm not using any more than 4-pound test, or rarely 6-pound test. If I'm around like snakeheads and stuff, I'll try to use heavier stuff, or pickerel, especially something with teeth. I'll use heavier stuff, but again, the majority of my stuff I'm using is 2- and 4-pound test. And you got to think, those fish are in the water when you're setting the hook on them and everything, so they're lighter fact. When things are in the water, I'm not great on physics and everything, but I know 100% fact that things are lighter in the water than they are out of the water. So that 4-pound fish in the water, you know, you're not actually dealing with 4 pounds until he jumps out of the water, or until you try to pick him up out of the water. So as long as you're landing your fish correctly and fighting your fish correctly, you have your drag set, you're using the proper rod and reel setup, which is a whole different topic, but you know, if you have all that, you can land fish as long as there's no structure around and you can actually fight the fish. You can land fish well beyond the test limit of your line. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how what size hooks I use, my setups. Like I said, I try to go as little to no weight as possible, keep it as natural as possible, even no bobber, just a little hook if the minnow actually swim down and the conditions are right. You know, just a plain hook, super light line. Thin wire hook is super key, not thick wire, because the thick wire stands out, and bigger, smarter fish or certain species of fish will pick up on that, and they'll come up and inspect it and swim right away before they bite it. So all that stuff is super important and key to catching fish consistently and catching sizable fish. I'm gonna get in here out of this wind. Until next time, hope all that helps. Get out there, enjoy the outdoors. Peace.